Hello and welcome back, everyone, to another edition of the Sports Mixtape. I'm Brad. I'm joined by my cohorts here, Brent and Jimmy. We told you we had a big surprise and a change for you coming your way.
Yeah.
Check out the new pad we're in. We got a new studio set up. We've been looking forward to this for a little while.
Yeah, we got a little more room in here
Yep.
to maneuver. Feels good.
So yeah, welcome to the new home of the Sports Mixtape. NFL. It's the time of year. We're 2 weeks into the preseason now.
I'm so excited.
Fantasy football is about to start up, and we always really enjoy the banter that goes back and forth between us and the buds in the league.
Oh, yeah.
The Winner's Circle League. And
Tough league to win.
I got a little decoration I want to bring to the new studio. But in case any of you don't have these, this is a fantasy football league championship won by, me. 10-4, the playoff GOAT, 48-point players back-to-back in the playoffs.
You remember who they were?
Murdered John. These aren't my words. These are written. Murdered John by 100 points in the finals. 2026 Winner's Circle champion. We're going to leave this on the table for tonight. But
Do you remember who your 48-pointers were?
I had Puka Nacua, and
I know the second one.
oh my God.
Let's just say,
how do I not know my team? But is it the King?
let's just say for owners who were very, 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 very patient with this guy, he finally paid off. Kyle Pitts.
Pitt. Oh
Had a
yeah.
monster game.
Yes. He had
Kyle
he
Pitts.
had the first of the 48-point games for me.
Yeah, I didn't know we were bringing in championship trophies, or I would have brought mine in. But
Jimmy's in the club, so he's in the circle. But hopefully Brent could get his hands on one here soon.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about what's going on in the league right now. I saw Jamar Chase go down in practice the other day.
I think he's all right.
Knee tweaked a little bit, but
Yeah, I think they said he was going to be fine. It was just a minor.
just got to keep an eye on it when you're drafting your team. Some of these guys banged up a little bit
Yeah.
early on. Some people may be facing suspensions. Puka.
Yeah, I mean, he for sure is going to face some type of suspension. We don't know what it's going to be, but I mean, if that guy comes to you, you're drafting him.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of our favorites to draft. Who are you going to take number one? Are you going to give those secrets away? Brent, who would you take number one if you got the number one pick?
I thought long and hard about this. Jimmy and I actually had a conversation about this on the golf course the other day. I went back and forth. I was leaning toward Bijan, just because how durable and how built that guy is. But it's such an unstable quarterback situation in Atlanta
Yeah.
that I'm going with the higher-powered offense in the Lions. I'm taking Jahmyr Gibbs if I had the number one overall pick.
Yeah, I mean,
Solid.
I kind of thought the opposite. I thought, who does Atlanta... We don't know who's throwing the ball. We don't know if any of the quarterbacks are going to be healthy. I feel like they're going to be feeding Bijan all year. But, yeah, I mean, it's got to be consensus. It's either Bijan or Jahmyr, number one, in my opinion.
Yeah, they both can catch the ball out of the backfield. I think if you're getting whoever it is for your first running back in the draft, you got to get the dual threat guy. I don't think you can really sit behind these two-headed monster teams anymore. Get the guy who's going to be getting passes not just on third downs either.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chase Brown, another good, not a number one draft pick, but another good running back who's going to see a lot of touches this year.
Yeah. I think the overall philosophy, we're talking about number one overall pick. Regardless of your pick in the first round, I think it can't be overstated. Like, don't overthink it. It happens to the best of us. We start putting these scenarios in our head, but you just got to take the best available player in the first round.
Who's the worst number one, like first round overall pick you've ever taken in a fantasy draft? I'll start this off while you guys think about this. But a couple of years ago, I bought big into, Andy Reid was with the Chiefs. he relied heavily on running backs as like pass catching backs. Like I think of Brian Westbrook, who was a fantasy monster for years with the Eagles. Well, he's out with the Chiefs. They drafted Clyde Edwards-Helaire late in the first round, and I just thought he was just going to be a target machine. Took him 4th overall.
You could have got him in the 6th round, probably.
Not only he was ranked top 10. We were drafted ESPN that year. I think he was like 8th or 9th on the list, and I took him 4th overall. And I still don't think AJ's let me hear the end of this pick. That's probably my worst ever.
I'm not even sure who my. I think I might have taken Garrett Wilson in the 1st round at some point, or maybe early 2nd round is what it was.
It wouldn't be a bad pick, but did you take CMC the year he got hurt and missed the whole year?
No, I took him the year after when I won the championship, and he blew up.
Well, what I was going to say is, we're talking about number 1 pick. If health were not a factor, Christian McCaffrey's the guy that he either wins your league or loses.
He was the fantasy point leader last year.
Yeah, he just is
he's a stud.
He's a touch machine. He gets. What did the guy have? 100 catches last year? He's like having two players in one position.
And they just feed him the ball.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've always drafted running backs first, always, and it's always been a safe bet for me. So I don't know if I've actually had a dud at number 1.
So in our league, if you're also in like a very competitive fantasy league, it's all fantasy veterans, and there's really no pulling one over on anyone. It doesn't matter who you think your sleeper is in our league, guaranteed someone else is going to draft them.
That's the thing. If there's a guy if there's a guy you really want, you got to go up and get him in our league for sure.
Just like that guy that drafted Ashton Genty 1st overall.
Yep.
So if you guys had like this year, because you could make an argument. There's like 7 or 8 or 9 like studs, guys that could potentially be number 1 at the end of the year.
Yeah.
If you had your pick of which draft pick you would like to pick from this year, what would you guys choose?
So I typically end up right smack dab in the middle every year.
5.
And I always 5 or 6, and I always complain about it. And last year, I think I had the 6th pick and ended up winning the championship. I've learned to like that position because of the snake draft, and you seem to get right in the middle of back and forth on your picks, rather than being 1st or 10th and having to wait a whole round for it to come back around.
In my opinion, it's tough and a lot of pressure being number 1 overall in like a competitive league, because you have to wait 20 more picks in a 10-person league before you could even draft again. And by that time, there's still great guys, obviously, in the league, but your real true studs are already gone.
Well, go look at probably the last 8 years. You've had, for the most part, a consensus number 1 pick on all of the fantasy sites, whether it's like ESPN or Yahoo.
Yeah.
Those guys have not performed well. I think the year Jamar Chase was number 1 was the year he got hurt. The year McCaffrey was number 1 was the year he didn't play with the Achilles issues. Typically the guy that's sitting at the top doesn't always have the best go of it.
It's like the Madden curse.
Yeah. So what would be so for me, I actually think I've done a few mocks. I think I would like the 8th or the 9th pick this year. I think I'd like to pick towards the end. I think there's a lot of good value at the end of the first round.
Just see what gets left to you.
And then you swing pick back. I'm telling you, at the end of the first round this year, you're looking at potentially being able to get Saquon. You're looking at potentially being able to get Derrick Henry. Jonathan Taylor has fallen in some of these. Look,
so that's why I like number 6, because these knuckleheads in my league have left Henry to me 2 years in a row, and he's just been a workhorse. He's a stud. He's a consistent 18 points a game.
Yeah, but also people that left him that had guys that might have outperformed Henry. And that's the thing about fantasy. I don't think it matters where you draft. You have to, have guys that are going to stay healthy. Health is a big issue in fantasy. And you have to have a good bench. That's what I've learned. If you have guys on your bench that you just are crossing your fingers and hoping they're going to, explode this year, you have to have that consistent guy on your bench.
Well, look, Jimmy learned a really good lesson last year that I learned the year or two before.
Take dead last.
You don't want to take wide receivers who are in questionable quarterback situations. Yeah. It typically doesn't work out well.
No.
So if there's a guy, Jimmy had Jefferson last year. I can't remember who I had the year before, but it was one where I made a note. I made a rule of it. I was like, stop taking guys.
That might have been my worst first-round pick ever, Jefferson.
Yeah. And by no fault of Jefferson's alone. Jefferson's a guy I actually like this year because Kyler Murray is such an upgrade to McCarthy.
Yeah.
Average quarterback play, and Justin Jefferson's going to be a top 3 or 4 wide receiver.
Could be.
Well,
yeah.
Should we talk about quarterbacks?
Let's talk about some quarterbacks.
Who's your?
So here's a surprise to me was seeing Baker Mayfield's average rank of where he's going to go drop down to like 20th or so.
Yeah. Just because of the injury.
And I know the past couple years, he's given you some great average numbers to get you through a season.
2 years ago, I think Baker was the quarterback number 3, potentially in the league, and then he had the injuries last year, really derailed him. Yeah. But I got Baker marked here, Brad, because he's playing with a chip on his shoulder. It's contract year. He didn't get the money that he wanted.
True.
And you always got to put a little asterisk next to those guys.
Does it make him get reckless, though, and get injured? That's the question.
That's been the battle for Baker his whole career. He's a bit undersized, and he struggles with injury.
I think Josh Allen's got to be your guy at number 1 quarterback.
I think so, too.
He does it all. I think that's pretty much consensus number 1.
I have a contrarian pick.
Who's that?
I have Drake May as the number 1. I think Drake May will finish as a QB1 this year.
Yeah, I don't think he'll beat out Josh Allen, but I have Drake May at 2, so I'm right there with you.
Second year in the league last year with literally no running backs, or no wide receivers. May's number 1 receiver, Stephon Diggs, played about 35% of the snaps. Their number 2 receiver, they just traded for a can of soda, Butte. And Drake May was the quarterback number 3 in our fantasy league last year. He's got A.J. Brown. He's got another year to get comfortable in the offense, and they upgraded the offensive line. The guy can run. I think Drake May is a dark horse.
Can he trust that Vrabel's not coaching another quarterback somewhere?
Yeah. I mean,
I like May. Yeah, I think that second year in the league last year, he showed grit, and I don't think the third year will be a dud.
I have a question. What are your thoughts on Lamar? I don't really even have him. He's usually like top 3.
I've heard a couple things. One of my good buddies is a big Ravens fan, and he really keeps up with what's going on in camp and stuff. And they've had fellow players saying, "You wouldn't believe it, but he's the fastest they've ever seen him.
He lost weight,
and he's like the strongest they've ever seen him."
Yeah, I mean,
he's one ankle turn away.
It was hamstring last year. He strained his hamstring early in the season, and then he had the knee and the ankle issue. And
he just nursed that hamstring all year.
He ran half the amount of times he had averaged the previous 2 years. So he's one of those guys that if he's not running, he's not.
Yeah, he's not a big thrower, so he's not going to get you a ton of yards through the air.
Well, Flowers better get open with what they just gave.
I'll give you a what I think is a steal at quarterback this year in the middle rounds. If you want to wait, I have it written on here every year, but I get so I get so impulsive during the draft. I always say wait on a quarterback, and I literally never do. But a guy who's going like 7, 8, 9 quarterback range, who I think is going to have a monster year just because the offensive coordinator is Justin Herbert. Look what Mike McDaniel did with Tua.
Yeah.
I whiffed on Tua. I thought Tua was going to be a great NFL prospect. His first year or two with McDaniel, Tua was a fantasy beast.
Yeah.
Now you get him in there with a quarterback who's big, who can move, cannon for an arm. I think he's an interesting pickup this year.
Want to hear some like bullpen superstition on this too? Is he just got married in the offseason, and there's a stat out there of quarterbacks who get married, what they do the following season, and their numbers are through the roof. So he is someone I would take. Yeah. So what round you say you might get him in?
I see
You
on
should
Yahoo.
take him in the
he's-
first, he's saying.
On Yahoo, he is quarterback number 8. So they've got
Yeah.
7 guys ahead of him. So you can get him in the middle of the pack.
Yeah.
rounds
I
there.
like that. Yeah.
And then I think if you're going to wait on a quarterback, because that's always a strategy too. Some guys stream quarterbacks. There's some value down at the end. Look, it's not a sexy name, but if you look at last year, once he got the nod, Jacoby Brissett put up points in our fantasy.
I picked him
he
up
was
for
like
a couple-
20 to
couple
20.
weeks.
Is he
Yeah.
still
20
holding out?
20 to 22 a game. He was
Yep.
putting up points.
He did that in New England too.
Yeah, you've got the kid who was a rookie last year for New Orleans, Shook. Had a decent, and then again, it's
got it.
not someone I want to watch the games, but in fantasy, if you can run, you're always going to be middle of the pack. Malik Willis,
I was gonna say I got Malik Willis down.
late round flyer, throw a dart at it.
He could be, a terrible pick, or he could come out and if he's running the ball. I agree. So they got rid of everybody. You got Devin Achane and I think Jalen Tolbert, who's like their receiver now. But
Some of these guys sound like you could pick them up off the waiver wire after the draft.
Yeah. Miami's got an
for
upgraded offensive line, and they're probably going to be playing from behind quite a bit.
yeah,
this year.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Which, if Malik Willis is able to do what he showed in those few games he played last year, then he could be a steal late.
How about Joe Burrow? You got to talk about him a little bit.
Yeah, I got him as my
He
number
was having
3
a good year
quarterback.
last year,
Guy
gets
can't
hurt.
stay on the field.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think though
He's got to show it.
when he's on the field, he's just this guy goes for 400 yards every game. It feels like, but yeah, he's got to stay healthy.
If you draft Burrow, you got to take a backup quarterback with probably your last
Malik
pick of your
Willis.
position guys. Yeah, I think
Take Malik Willis if you draft Joe Burrow.
All right, so let's move on to wide receiver. Who you taking for your first receiver if they're still on the board?
I think Jamar Chase is the safest bet. I like Puka, but we talked about the suspension. And then you got JSN, who they're going to throw it all day to him.
Yeah.
But I like, if I was taking a receiver first overall, I'd probably lean Jamar Chase. Once again, depends on Joe Burrow's health. But, Joe Burrow's healthy. Jamar Chase is just huge every game, gives big points.
Like Brent said, I think Jefferson's going to have a bounce back big year. After seeing that video of Chase going down in practice the other day, it makes me a little concerned. He's dealt with some minor injuries,
Yeah.
but
I got JSN as my top wide receiver. He was like he's just a guy when you watch games, the dude is always open by several yards.
Yeah.
He's got continuity with Darnold. New offensive coordinator, new play caller, so that could shake things up a little bit. But I think what you have going for you with him is Super Bowl champs always get the toughest schedule in the league the next year. And so they're going to be in some games that are going to be tough. I think they're going to be having to throw. They had a lot of games last year that they had wrapped up by the time they got to the fourth quarter where JSN put up ridiculous numbers. He didn't even play a lot of fourth quarters.
and does Darnold see different ghosts now of having to keep up with a Super Bowl, championship aura?
I think Darnold's got that swag that comes from winning the ring.
Yeah.
And I think, Mike McDonald's the real deal, the coach out there in Seattle. I feel like Seattle is primed to make another run this year.
Yeah, I feel like, you see, unless you're prime Tom Brady Patriots, teams don't really get back to the Super Bowl. It's very hard to do. Super Bowl hangover is real. I forget the stat, but really high percentage of teams that have ever made it to the Super Bowl.
It's the Super Bowl losing team rarely makes the playoffs the following year.
Yeah, and the winning team is so rare to go back to back. But yeah, look, Darnold, like I said, I'm happy that he won it. And I just feel like the guy at this point, that's the, monkey off his back. And, now he just could go out there and have fun.
Well, look, that's the argument for Kyler Murray this year. I'm not a huge Kyler Murray fan. But you look at what O'Connell did last year with the quarterbacks. It wasn't it like Max Brosmer was like playing games for them. They went 9-8 last year, the Vikings, with J.J. McCarthy and Carson Wentz and Max Brosmer as their quarterbacks. So you get O'Connell, someone like Kyler Murray. Look what he did with Darnold. He resurrected Sam Darnold's career. Is it possible that could be a sneaky good fantasy option? If he stays healthy, could be.
Real quick, speaking of the Vikings, I always love reminiscing about Adrian Peterson. Have you guys seen the videos of his 8th grade son working out and playing ball? It's unreal. We got another Peterson coming up in the next
Always
few
like to
years.
see that.
You'll see him in college. Here's a receiver I think you could get, maybe round 4, maybe round 5. But Brent is talking about Herbert over there with the Chargers. I think McConkey is going to get his numbers this year.
Yeah. He's going around like the third, fourth
think?
round. Well, I've done a few mocks, and that's where
I was saying
that's where the Yahoo
4th, maybe
rankings.
5th in our league.
I love McConkey this year.
I have him down as well. I think Mike McDaniels
starred all over
Mike McDaniels is going to target him so much during the game, and he's got.
He's going to take that
Who's
little
gonna
bubble screen option.
Does,
someone's going to have to reach for him.
Just make sure Jimmy doesn't pick out of the hat this year.
And you mentioned Drake May. This is another guy, A.J. Brown. This guy, I know for all his troubles in Philly, and as a Philly fan, you may have hard feelings of how that all went down. But I think he's poised for like a huge year, a ton of upside, a big target. And look, Drake May is just getting better, and I think he's another guy that's gonna get targeted a ton by Drake May.
Yeah, I think as long as they get him the ball, he'll stay engaged. I think if they have a rough start and he's not seeing targets, he'll check out. He's just one of those guys that's like he wants the offense to revolve around him. So I think that's the risk you take. Wide receivers are they're a bit different.
Look who's right behind him on the top 100 list, Devontae Smith, and I think Smith's going to have a good year, but. I think who's going to have like a breakout rookie season is Mekhi Lemon with them.
Yeah, he was hurt all of camp is the only issue.
Really?
He had a hamstring. He's just been getting back to practice now. I like Lemon as a slot guy. There's a sleeper. There's some buzz. Now, again, take this with a grain of salt because everybody talks about how good everyone is in training camp. But supposedly, Dontavian Wicks, you guys remember him from the Packers? He came to Philly this year. He's slotted as the receiver number 2. And there's some highlights of him in camp where he is looking legit. They say Hurts is developing a pretty good rapport with him. He's a guy you could take with your last
He
pick.
flashed last year, maybe. I can't remember. But I remember he has some big games with the Packers.
Incredibly quick. And in some of these joint practices where they're actually going against like other teams, he's shaking and baking some dudes. So he could be another guy later on. I've got him on the potential sleeper list here.
Touch on tight ends real quick. Won't spend much time because there's only a few at the top.
I mean, I got McBride, Brock
Bowers, or wait until my last pick. But the only other guy that is interesting to me is Travis Kelce.
They got one other.
He was tight end number 3 last year, 35 last year, 36 this year. The thing is after
he got
usually
married this offseason.
All right.
Another one. The thing is usually after these top 2 picks, the tight ends are so bunched up when you look at end of year scoring that it comes out to where like tight end 3 versus tight end 12 might be a difference of like 1.5 points per game. So this is one of those that I love the top 2 guys. I would take them in round 3 if they're still on the board, but after that, I think.
I don't know what happened to the tight ends in fantasy. Like we used to have a bunch of studs,
the Gronks, the Antonio Gates.
But now even like guys like from Sam Laporta, that guy seems to always be injured now.
Yeah, guys are falling off a little bit. Tucker Kraft had a good season.
I got a tight end that I'm not going to mention. I'm saving it for draft night.
I'll mention him because I think it's the same.
I'll mention a guy too, a tight end that I like, who's probably your guy as well.
I got Terrence Ferguson for the Rams.
It's not me.
I think I rostered him very end of the season, but and did like for daily fantasy. But I think Ferguson can have a good mid-level year this year.
Speaking of the Rams, before you give yours, Jimmy, something that I think is smart to do, I made a note of it this year. I want to target offenses, and I want to target high-powered offenses. And this is who I have this year. This is who I think are going to score points. I got the Rams, Chargers, Bears, Cowboys, Jaguars, and Lions. Those teams are all going to put up. The Cowboys last year, if you look at their offense from a fantasy perspective, Pickens was a monster. Javonte Williams was a monster. Dak was QB6.
Dez Bryant's always a monster when not hurt.
Who?
CD. Dez Bryant. CD Lamb. Hey, how you doing? Yeah,
No,
CD
yes.
Lamb.
When CD's healthy, Ferguson has had some big. So I think, speaking of offenses, did you guys see one of our favorite soundbite guys from last year, the WWF coach of the Bears, Ben Johnson,
Yes.
Oh,
said he wants to break the NFL scoring record this year? Came out and put it out in the media that he's trying to break the NFL scoring record.
All right.
So the Bears
That's good to know.
could be some guys you want.
Let's see if Caleb could do it.
Who do you like at tight end, Jimmy?
I like, maybe not a sleeper, but for the Giants, Isaiah Likely.
He's a stud. He's an athlete, man. He's a stud.
Yeah, another guy who showed flashes, really was always competing for tight end reps and with Andrews with the Ravens. But I think that, this is a perfect target for Dart on the Giants. Check down passes, little passes over the middle. I think he can get a ton of targets this year.
Well, yeah, and I mean, the good thing is if you take a guy like that, he's going to have an experienced quarterback throwing the ball to him.
Yeah.
Because once Dart heads to that blue tent.
Exactly.
by week 3.
And that's the thing. When you have the backup quarterbacks, then they're always looking for the tight
Let's
ends.
teach him how to block for Scadaboo. All right, so let's talk about maybe a few guys to stay.
Hold on real quick.
Yeah.
Tight end. If you have the choice, you taking McBride or Bowers with your first tight end pick?
I'd go McBride,
Okay.
I think.
I think I have to.
Man, it's
Yeah.
tough. I like the rapport. I think the question mark is quarterback. McBride's got rapport when Brissett plays. He feeds McBride.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to remember this. He was injured last year, Bowers. But Bowers' rookie year, he was second in NFL history most receptions for a rookie, only behind
Yeah.
Puka's rookie year.
Yeah.
Not just
tight end.
Not tight end. Ever. Second most receptions ever. Now look, Cousins is a guy who's got some experience. He doesn't have a ton of arm strength anymore. Is he going to check it down? But also you have Kubiak, who Seattle last year made it a point that they were going to run and funnel that offense through JSN and the ground game. Does Kubiak put Bowers in that same JSN role where it's like, look, this is the guy we're going to get targets to? I think either one of those two guys is a great pick in the third round.
Bowers just looks like a 40-year-old man.
Which is great.
And like a throwback
play.
tight end from like way back in the day is what he looks
He was
like. That's
born
the
looking
best
like
thing
that.
about him. But
That's who AJ should pick.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no surprises with who we're all,
No.
taken in the top for each position. But there, like you said, what's your worst number one? Who are guys to stay away from this
Yeah.
year? Especially guys who have been taken in the top in the past.
Well, and I've been burned every year that I've taken a tight end early. I had the 1 year after his breakout year, I took Waller in the third or fourth round, and he was hurt all
And he
year.
went to the Giants.
When he played,
Yeah.
he played 5 games that year. He was great in those
Now
games.
he's a
but-
rapper.
Well, no, I had him last year with the Dolphins.
Yeah, he came
Same
back,
thing.
yeah.
5 games, he had a target, and I think every game for 5 games in a row, he had
think he's-
20 points, and then he disappeared.
I think he scored 2 touchdowns in his first game back.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what happens to the guy. He just disappeared after that. but-
Well, who was throwing to him?
I think it was some hard living before before he cleaned up, took a toll on his body.
Yeah.
I still want to hear real quick though, if you had your top option, if you got to pick the number spot that you would pick from this year, which would be the number that you would
I'd
pick?
probably. I don't think I need to be in the top 5. I think I could go
There's value at the end of that first round this year.
either around the middle of the round, maybe later middle of the round. But But yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one, and like you said, I do mock drafts every year, and no matter where I'm at, I find a lineup that I like. It never translates to our league though, because
No, it's the way the rankings are set never line up with our league, because you got guys, like Brad. If Derrick Henry's ranked 13, Brad's taking him at 5 or 6, or you got guys coming. If you have a sleeper, you got to go.
You're not going to sneak guys past these other players in the league.
Who's quarterback that you wouldn't take? That you just want to stay away from? Who you think a lot of other people may have eyes on?
Patty Mahomes, possibly. I mean, I know that's blasphemous, but but I don't. He's coming back from ACL. I know they said he's looked good so far, but I don't know.
I think Burrow makes me nervous because that offensive line every year in Cincy is just so bad.
When are they going to beef that offensive line up?
They can't. They paid all their wide receivers all this money. I think Burrow is, like Jimmy said, when he plays, he's going to put up points. But you're going to have to spend a high pick on Burrow, and he just makes me a little nervous because the durability concerns.
I never draft. I never get any of these top quarterbacks anyway because
Allen would be fun to have, though. Josh Allen would be a fun quarterback.
I sit on my quarterback till about the 7th round.
Yep. So who are guys we were talking about? Who are guys you wouldn't draft besides QB? I have a couple of them. One you're not going to like.
I'm not touching Scatabo with the 10-foot pole.
I have that right here, Scatabo.
I don't think that guy plays more than 6 games in a season in his career.
And this is the thing. So the Giants, they have Tyrone Tracy. They have.
They just brought in someone.
They just brought in Najee Harris, and they have who's the other guy?
Singletary.
Now Singletary, so far in the preseason, has looked like the fastest running back on the Giants, and Tyrone Tracy in the preseason game let up a clean hit. He just didn't even block the end. Who destroyed Jackson Dart? That's when they brought in Najee Harris. So to me, that running back room is way too crowded, and I think Scatabo is way too injured. He's going to have a concussion within the first 5 games of the year.
I think who I'm probably staying away from this year, I want to say 2 receivers. I had them both on my team last year. One of them was really good, but I think with the question marks in Atlanta, I'm staying away from Drake London, and I'm staying away from Nico Collins. Nico was pretty disappointing. He was a top pick for me last year.
He's getting drafted maybe a little too high.
I just think Stroud's a question mark. He regressed a little bit. And I don't think Stroud has to even be that good for the Texans to be dominant this year. Their defense is so good.
And if Stroud, just throw the freaking ball out and let Nico go and get. That's how good of a receiver he is. My wide receiver, do not touch, is DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
He only had 850 yards last year. Rodgers ain't getting any younger. Now you got Michael Pittman Jr. there.
I like Pittman.
Who I think that's more of a guy. Like Rodgers is not throwing the deep ball all the time now, so he's really going to target Pittman over the middle.
Got 2 new faces in new places. They're probably boring. I'm going to give you 3 boring picks who I think are put up numbers this year. And people probably get tired of taking them, but I got Pittman in Pittsburgh. I think he's going to be a good red zone target for Rodgers. You can get this guy in like the 10th round.
Yeah. Rodgers, if he was smart, he would just throw it to that giant of a tight end they have.
Yeah, that guy is slower than molasses, though.
Number 2 is Devontae Adams. His stat
he
line.
He was huge last year.
His stat line usually looks like this. 3 catches, 12 yards, 2 touchdowns. Stafford feeds him in the red zone. And then I think the last guy, again, I take this with a grain of salt because he's playing next to a practice facility that's been a little dicey, but I think Mike Evans in a Shanahan offense, Shanahan knows how to use these guys and dial up plays. He could be a red zone monster.
He's going to get 100 red zone targets.
Yeah.
I mean, who else are they going to throw it to in the red zone?
CMC.
I also, another running back I wouldn't take, Ashton Genty, who's
Yeah.
getting drafted way too high, and that rookie running back, Mike Washington.
I got it. He's a sleeper.
He looks like the better running back from the preseason games to the practice. I mean, he just looks, the eye test he passes as the better running back. So
He's a
I don't know.
dude that's built that runs a 4.3.
Yeah.
He's got crazy speed.
And I think they're not going to let him sit on the bench. So I don't think Genty gets that many touches this year because of Washington being there. Genty's injured, I believe.
Yeah.
So other sleepers.
I'll tell you a running back that I like that's going a little bit later. I'm a little nervous to put this one out here. It's not a team that I like, but let's say your draft strategy is to go after a Josh Allen and a McBride, and you're knocking out your quarterbacks and tight ends early and maybe a receiver, and you got to wait on running backs. I like Judkins on the Browns. That dude, when healthy last year, was a stud. Hard runner. I think I've been reading reports he's worked on his receiving game a little bit this year.
I think they're going to be throwing the ball a lot this year.
I still don't know how Watson got named the starting quarterback.
I can see an over season for the Browns this year.
Well, first off, what a mess that Deshaun Watson dumped all over the fans and then got named the starting quarterback, and he completely got outplayed by Shedeur all mini camp and preseason games.
Which is not saying much.
So I don't. Look, I'm a Jets fan. I take accountability, but they are a disaster in Cleveland, and I feel bad because the Cleveland fans, you do not deserve that. You're diehard football fans, and I feel your pain. I know how pissed you are, but
so that was my stay away from any Jets players and any Browns players this year.
Yeah,
I think my best to stay
I worry
away.
about Jimmy this year. Frank Reich as an offensive coordinator is.
Hey, Geno Smith went 7 for 7 the other night.
Look,
7 yards.
Look at Frank Reich's last couple stops, coaching stops.
This is
this is
my take.
This could be genius though, because we did last year, first coach fired watch list, and I think one of us nailed whoever it was Dayball, but I think one of us nailed who it was. The reason I don't think it's going to be Glenn is because the Jets want the number 1 pick.
Yeah, and he's only been there a year. You can't fire a coach year after year. You don't.
The Mannings.
But he's on the hot seat because he's already gotten rid of a third of his coaching staff.
He got rid of all of them.
Glenn already
almost.
knows that he's got to make some moves this year.
So this is my feeling on that, and we get more into it. But you got Geno for a reason. They're literally, you keep on drafting high draft picks, which is great. You got Geno you're not trying to win a ton of games this year. I mean, Geno win a handful of games, but you'll still get a high draft pick, and you got to go and get your quarterback.
Do they play the Browns this year? They'll win that one.
They always beat the Browns. Let's see, who else? So I do have a couple other sleeper. Now, I guess Parker Washington for Jaguars, not really a sleeper.
He was awesome last year.
But I do think that he takes another step forward this year.
I like ETN actually as he's not a deep sleeper, but I think he's going to have a good year this year.
Yeah, Alvin Kamara I had him last year, and he was not good, and he's injured. I don't know who else is going to run the ball in New Orleans.
That Saints team was scrappy last year.
Yeah.
Very, very scrappy team. I got a sleeper for you here, Brad. He used to be a Giant. He's reconnected with Brian Daboll in Tennessee. You got a young quarterback. Check down Charlie. Wan'Dale Robinson in a PPR league.
Yeah.
The guy was a monster last year in our league.
Yeah, I was sad to see him go.
Yeah. So I think he's another guy you can get late. He's hooked up with Daboll. Cam Ward is the developing quarterback. That's a guy who's, again, he's always open underneath for checkdowns. Also keep hearing buzz about this Stribling kid in San Francisco.
I got him down,
A lot of injuries out in
too.
San Francisco. Evans is banged up already. Kittle's not coming back right away. He's lighting it up in the preseason.
He looks like the best receiver on the team already, and you hit the nail on the head. Like, these guys cannot stay healthy. And Purdy is a good quarterback, whether you want to believe it or not. Go and look at his stats. And who's going to put up yards, and someone is going to have to catch the ball. And I think Stribling will be the guy. Now, we also mentioned, I think Mike Evans does steal a ton of those touchdowns away in the red zone. And
I think he's going to
be
like
McCaffrey.
I think Evans is going to be like Devontae Adams last year.
Yeah.
Like 3 catches,
Low
2 touchdowns, just a red zone machine.
He's usually always good for like a 30-yard catch, though.
The guy before last year, didn't he have a 1,000-yard season every year of his NFL career? It was some crazy number before he broke it last year. He was
I think that was a
injured most of the
record.
year. Yeah. What do you guys think about the Super Bowl MVP?
I
Teaming
love
up
it.
with Andy Reid. The Chiefs have not had a good running back probably since Kareem Hunt back in the day.
I think he is a workhorse back for them. I think Mahomes being limited a little bit this year, he probably won't try and run as much. I think they're just going to feed him the ball.
The only issue I see, I love the fit, I love the scheme, I love that he's with Mahomes. Only issue I see is he's a guy who's been nicked and dinged over the years. He always misses games
And now this
here
will
and
be
there.
his first full work.
Yeah, because Charbonnet split the load with him quite a bit there in Seattle.
Yeah, I mean,
But he's so explosive, man.
Yeah,
he had the most runs last year of over 20 yards. The guy's
I
like
think on this offense, he could really he could do some damage. And like with all these other guys, he might have a little bit of downside due to injury. But yeah, I mean, I would draft him 100%.
Now, in what round? I mean, obviously, I think a lot of us mostly stream defenses throughout the year. But in what round is Aubrey worth a pick? Dallas's kicker.
He's not to me.
That guy single-handedly can
I think
win
these
you
kickers
games
are
per
getting
week.
better and better around the league, and the Giants.
He's just a machine.
The Giants thank God we may have figured out our kicker problem by drafting a kid this year, but he's pounding the ball, 67-yarders and stuff. But yeah, Aubrey's just a machine.
I think if you don't get like the top kicker or even the top 2 kickers, it's like tight ends, like they're all right around each other. And you stream the kickers all season.
Aubrey puts up points like a wide receiver 1.
I sprung for him pretty high last year.
Now, I'm going to mention 2 guys. We talked about the high-end running backs, but again, if you have that late first, early second round pick, I don't think the first one's going to make it past 5 or 6, but 2 dependable, just workhorse backs, James Cook and Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor
not making the past 5, I don't think.
He's my number 3
Taylor,
running back, Jonathan Taylor.
I have him. I got guys I'm targeting. Taylor, if you get one of those middle of the first round picks, that guy is so dependable. When healthy.
Yeah.
He had one down year, but he was injured. And
other than what year that was the year I had the number 1 pick.
Yeah,
of course, that's the consensus number 1 right there.
You could throw, I think, Travis Etienne on that list of running backs you could get late, probably.
Yeah. Not in our league. You're probably going to have to go in the first couple rounds on a lot of these running backs. In a competitive league.
So what's the strat? Because, you hear this every year. People have different strategies. Like you hear no running back strategy where you're loading up the skill positions and you're waiting until late to try to take running backs in handcuffs. You guys go on wide receiver running back for the first couple rounds. Like what are you thinking? Or do you just let the draft play out?
Yeah, for me, I need one of my first 2 picks. I like to go. I'm going to go wide receiver, running back with my first 2 picks. I want
one of
a couple
each.
studs, one of each that I know are going to get me points.
A lot of years I go running back. It's running back for me always, first pick.
Did you go Henry Puka last year?
Henry Puka. So Taylor slipped to me in the 3rd round.
I know,
crazy.
due to that bad
and
injury.
so you never know who's going to slip through the cracks because you do have guys in a competitive league who may not take the best available.
No, they're targeting their guy. Yeah.
We want our guys, and Taylor slipped to me.
That was so huge, Ed, because that was
huge.
That 1-2 punch.
Look, Jimmy said
unbeatable.
it. Jimmy said it when we started. You need depth. Guys get hurt every year. You have to have depth. You got to have guys sitting on your bench who are somewhat of a factor, not just for bye weeks, but for the fact that you're going to have a top 4 round pick get hurt this year.
When we get into rounds 7, 8, and 9, I'm always looking for my backup running backs have to be RB1s on their teams, even if it's a crappy team. I'm always looking for RB1.
It's hard
tough
to
this
do.
year.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Got a lot of these split back. You need, an ideal
Because
setup.
my bench guys, I could plug them in on bye weeks, no problem, because they're getting the majority of the touches.
Now, who would you guys say, it's called, if you don't follow fantasy or know fantasy very much, it's called a handcuff. But we're talking about if you're going to take Christian McCaffrey with your number 1 pick, you have to get San Francisco's backup with the later rounds. Or if you're going to take, whatever the alpha guy is. I'm just going to tell you. I'm going to tell you my top handcuff this year. If you get Kieran Williams on the Rams, you have to have Corum. And who would you guys say are your top backup running backs that you would maybe stash late round
Tyrone
as
Tracy's
an insurance?
one.
I think
If
Tracy's
you go
at the top.
Scottaboo, you better put
Tracy's
Tracy
at
on
the
the
top
team.
of my list.
Yeah.
He does a lot when he's given touches, and if Scottaboo gets hurt, I also like who Jimmy mentioned, the rookie running back on the Raiders,
Mike
especially
Washington.
with Jonty being hurt headed into the year. But there's a couple guys on this list. Denver's got a rookie running back that's supposedly making waves in camp out there. I like Monungai for Chicago. Swift is a guy
he was
that gets
good last
dinged up.
year when he got a chance.
Monungai was really good when he got a chance to play last year. And then, it's just if you're going to invest one of those early picks on where it's not a committee, it's a 1, you got to get the backup in the later rounds.
Well, and especially if you draft a guy who's like Jonathan Taylor, for instance, is workhorse back. If you draft him, you need to get his backup because that'll translate to the backup. Same thing, is he's a workhorse, you're going to have the backup do the same if Jonathan Taylor gets
only
injured.
problem with that is bye week. If you end up screwing up and you have 3 running backs on a bye week because of that.
Got to draft smart. I never even take bye weeks into account.
No.
I just draft who I think is best. I figure, look, I'll take the L maybe 1 week, but
Last thing, and then we need to wrap it up. Defense.
Wait. I want to hear your because I
Draft order pick?
I didn't hear it. Who would you take if you had the number 1 overall pick?
If I had the number 1 overall,
Yeah.
it's got
Scottaboo?
No, it's got to be Gibbs. I think.
I think so.
I really think so. I think the Lions get back on top where they were a couple years ago.
I called the Lions' downfall last year, and
You did.
not to say it was a downfall, but Jared Goff is so hard to trust.
I think
Is
Goff
my
has a
only
good year.
thing.
Speaking of Giants, did you say Lions? I thought you said Giants.
Lions.
You got my
But we
brain
can talk about the
messed up.
Giants.
Where are you taking Neighbors? This is a very interesting.
Where is he getting drafted right now? What round?
I think he
I
could
think
be
he's
like a
like-
Jonathan Taylor for me last year and get him 3rd round.
Neighbors is wide receiver number 12, so he's going around the 3rd round right now in the Yahoo mocks.
Yeah, I would take him 3rd round.
Yeah,
if
I
he's
mean,
still available.
we
3rd
have
round,
Giants
yeah.
fans in our league.
I'm taking Neighbors,
and
he's
one of them.
looking really good
Lou.
in camp.
I was going to say Lou's going to scoop him by the 2nd round.
Yeah, he's looking good though, and it all depends if Dart stays healthy, but. Don't count Jameis Winston out. My man Jay Boo
Jameis
wins.
slings it, man.
Dude,
Jay Boo, we need you on the show.
this
man.
guy's offseason was incredible, by the way. Going
World Cup announcing.
Look at Jameis Winston, all his offseason
winning.
highlights. He is all over the place, making people smile. That's just what he does.
He's going to be on the Giants roster till he's like 60 because what he does for their PR.
Because he don't even care if he plays. He's just
No.
out there to have fun.
But he's
And he can
promoting
still-
the team so much.
He can still sling it when he plays. He's a great backup quarterback.
All right, we've gone a little long in this episode because we've been waiting all year to talk about
Yeah.
football again.
bad.
But defense, just pick one.
Houston Texans.
Who's your top
I mean,
defense?
well, the Texans had so many turnovers last year and touchdowns. I don't know. I stream all my defenses. I don't pick any I don't draft any defenses. I just stream whoever I think is going to have a decent week. I think that's the best strategy to do with defenses.
Pick them up week by week.
Yeah,
that's why
yeah.
I like to do that too.
Just go against a rookie quarterback.
Just look at who they're playing.
Go against a rookie QB.
Yep.
Chances are it's going to be a good week.
Pittsburgh, I don't think you can go wrong with any year. And then watch out for my Giants defense this year. I think they're going to tally up a ton of sacks, especially on Hurts.
Hope springs eternal in New York.
So look, let's wrap it up, guys. Everyone out there in fantasy land, it's the time for
Give us one more name. One more name each.
as just
One more
gotta
name.
have on your
Guy
team.
that you like. I'm going to give you a sleeper. Who I think is due for a monster year.
I want T. Higgins on my team.
Okay.
I had T. Higgins last year. It was a little disappointing.
I want Jadarian Price from Notre Dame. Seattle Seahawks rookie running back. Dude was so explosive. He split in the backfield with the guy on the Cardinals. Love. That they just
Oh,
drafted.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Look what Walker did last year in Seattle. They're a pretty run-heavy defense. I think Jadarian Price, for where you can get him, could
And
have
look
a
at
good
Love. If Love could stay healthy, that guy is a
unreal.
home run threat
Unreal.
every time he touches the ball. So, yeah, Love, I think you can't go wrong with him to have him as your third or fourth running back.
All right. Can I wrap it up now?
John, I hope you were taking notes.
Week to week now, we're gonna have tons to talk about, but it's time for your leagues to start doing their meetings, and then picking draft orders in a week and a half or so, and then drafting, and let's get the season started.
I'm pumped.
So
Let's get it.
We may talk a little college football in the near future too. That's starting up this weekend.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. Go follow, go like, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit us on Instagram. Leave some comments. Tell us your number one picks. Tell us who to stay away from. We could use it in our draft.
And next week, NFL preview,
Some NFL
NFL season
preview.
preview. So
Yep.
stay tuned to that.
Be the happiest Jimmy's going to be all season.
I mean, look, as a Jets fan, we don't have any losses yet. So let me have this moment before the season starts.
Yep. Till next time, guys.
See ya.
Peace.